everyone, and welcome back to another video. I wanted to quickly make this video because there have been a lot of recent changes and updates within the immigration community. So I just wanted to go over a few of those quick updates with you. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, hello, my name is Stephanie D'Angelo. I am the founder of D'Angelo Law PLC. Make sure you subscribe and turn your post notifications on. That way you can stay up to date with the latest topics and changes with USCIS as well. So first on the agenda, I'm sure you have already heard about Trump's executive order temporarily suspending immigration into the United States for a period of 60 days. I did do a previous video breaking down the language in his proclamation, so if you want to check it out, I'll link it right here. But to give you a summary, he only suspended immigration from outside of the United States and those that are applying for permanent residency. This particular proclamation does not suspend the issuances of temporary visas. I'll go into the update regarding temporary visas in a moment, but for the purposes of Trump's proclamation, it only suspends the issuance of immigrant visas for permanent residency for those that are outside of the United States looking to obtain their immigrant visa at an embassy abroad. So there are of course exceptions, and I mentioned all of those in my previous video, so definitely go watch that video so you can understand exactly who it applies to and who is exempt. The next update is that the May 2020 Visa Bulletin is finally out. Typically, the Department of State publishes their monthly Visa Bulletin on their website on or about the 17th of each month. It took a little bit longer than that, but it is finally out and we have seen some changes. The big news is that EB1 is finally current. So those applicants that are looking to file in the EB1 preference category, or those that are beneficiaries of an approved EB1 preference category, that is great news for you. You can adjust your status immediately. You don't have to wait any longer. After it not being current for the last 2 years, it is finally current again. Those of you who don't know about the Visa Bulletin or don't know how to read or understand the Visa Bulletin, I did just upload a video on exactly how to read the Visa Bulletin, and I also provided updates using the May 2020 Visa Bulletin, so if you want to check that out, I'll also link it right here. It's definitely worth watching because it can get really confusing. So if you're interested in applying for permanent residency in the future, make sure you do know how to read that Visa Bulletin. Next update is that on April 24th, USCIS did announce that they did recently transfer the processing of I-751 applications to remove conditions of permanent residence. USCIS recently transferred those applications from the Texas Service Center to various USCIS field offices. This is, I'm sure, an effort to speed up the processing for those types of applications. Whenever USCIS transfers the processing of any applications to other field offices, it's done in an effort to speed it up and remove any sort of backlog or any delay that they're currently experiencing, or to relieve the sort of processing pressure from a field office or a service center. So they tend to move it around. It's no cause for concern. It's just to help move along the processing of those applications. But be aware, sometimes when this does happen, things get lost. So keep up to date with your case. Remember, when you're filing these applications, they are physical files, they are physical applications that get mailed to the service center. And when they transfer these applications or your files, they are physically transferring and moving your files. So don't be surprised if you potentially get a request for evidence asking for a certain document that you did submit already. Just be patient. This tends to happen a lot, and just keep an eye out for that and make sure you're following up with your application. The next update is regarding the suspension of in-person services. Before, USCIS's local field offices were set to reopen on May 4th and start taking biometrics appointments and interview appointments as of that date. However, they have just announced that they are extending the closure until June 3rd, so USCIS offices are set to reopen until June 4th. Are they really gonna reopen on June 4th? I don't know. They obviously will keep extending it until they feel it is no longer necessary to keep suspending in-person services. And what goes along with that, of course, is the automatic rescheduling of those interview or biometrics appointments that were scheduled during the time of the closure. I don't believe that they have been sending out new appointment notices for those that had to have been rescheduled yet, because they probably anticipated that they were going to extend it further. However, if you did already once receive an automatic rescheduling notice, then you'll probably receive yet another one for after June 4th. In my previous USCIS updates video, I'm going to link it right here. I did discuss the suspension of in-person services as well as its implications for employment authorization documents, applications, as well as their renewals. So definitely check that out for further detailed information. But for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to briefly touch on the fact that that closure has been extended for local USCIS field offices until June 4th. Service centers remain open. They are still accepting and receiving all applications and petitions. The only thing that it continues to be suspended is the in-person services for the biometrics and interviews. So you're still able to file your cases. It's still being processed, but of course, your inability to attend your biometrics appointment or a potential interview is delaying your process a little bit. So just be patient with that. Also, as I mentioned in my previous video, that suspension for premium processing hasn't been lifted yet. So that continues to be the case. No update there. The flexibility for responding to RFEs and notices of intent to deny, that continues. If you did receive a request for evidence or a notice of intent to deny, they are allowing you an additional up to 60 days to answer that as well. The other thing that I mentioned in the previous video was the potential waiver of green card interviews. Since the closure of the local field offices have been extended further, then it seems that more green card interviews might potentially be waived. Remember that there is no official policy on waiving green card interviews due to COVID-19. However, that is something that we have been seeing. So if you do receive a request for evidence on your I-485, definitely respond to it as quickly as possible. That way, once they do receive your documents, they can adjudicate your case immediately, and you might not have to wait for an actual interview. As of March 20th, all visa services at the U.S. embassies abroad have been suspended, temporarily suspended. Embassies are still closed. There hasn't been an announcement as to what date they plan on reopening, like the local USCIS field offices, so that closure remains. The Department of State did mention that as resources will allow, embassies and consulates will continue to provide emergency and mission critical visa services during this closure. However, once again, we do not know for sure when exactly the embassies will reopen. So those are the major recent updates to USCIS due to COVID-19. If you have any specific questions, please go ahead and feel free to leave them in the comments. I will respond to them. Also, you can leave requests for future videos. If you have a specific topic that you're interested in that you would like a video on, please let me know. Also, make sure you're subscribed and turn your post notifications on so you can be notified each and every time I upload a new video with a new update. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.